Good morning, Calgary. I am Honorable Judge Josvold, and today we are here to discuss the case of Syncrude's duck trial. We have a senior wildlife biologist, Todd Powell, here.
Thank you, Your Honor. On April 28, 2008, I received a telephone call from my office at Fort McMurray. A concerned individual wanted something done about a number of birds landing on Syncrude Canada Aurora settling basin. The ensuing investigation revealed that several hundred waterfowl were trapped in bitumen on the surface of the basin. All but a few of those birds died. The company was subsequently charged with failing to store a hazardous substance in a manner that ensured that it did not come into any contact with any animals. Contrary to Section 155 of Alberta's Environmental Protection and Enhancement Act, and with this...
Take 4.
What were you trying to do?
What a series of unfortunate events. This trial will be largely focused on whether Syncrude did enough to deter the birds from landing on the tailing pond, but there are several other issues that must be considered as well. Let's bring in Syncrude spokesperson, Cheryl Robb.
Oh, hi.
Hello, Cheryl. Good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Ma'am, I do see here that an estimated 500 waterfowl were found trapped in the bitumen mat on the Aurora settling basin on that date and apparently sank with the bitumen. It is agreed between the Crown and Defense that approximately 1,600 birds, yes? 1,600 birds died during the course of the incident. Despite efforts to recover and rehabilitate oiled birds, very few survived being oiled. Respecting the first count, the provincial Crown has alleged that Syncrude did fail to keep or store a hazardous substance in the manner required. The federal Crown has alleged that Syncrude did unlawfully deposit a substance that is harmful to migratory birds. Cheryl, what do you have to say about this?
To be honest, we are very disappointed with the charges allocated. Syncrude has regretted the death of the ducks, and we have since improved its deterrence. We have learned from the incident in 2008. We've made significant changes to our system because we don't want anybody, especially our employees of 5,000 and over 5,000 roughly, to work in an environment that's harmful to the planet and wildlife or waterfowl.
I think certainly the decision today vindicates our position. Clearly, it was appropriate to pursue these charges.
Honor, may I interject?
Granted.
Adequate deterrence to dissuade birds from using the pond, including air cannons and scarecrows, weren't in place when the ducks died. Due diligence is a defense, and Syncrude was not duly diligent, but has reconfirmed that it is a defense available to any corporation to prevent convictions by taking reasonable steps to avoid the offense in the first place. How can Syncrude possibly defend themselves? Cheryl?
Well, the incident was purely unavoidable. Your Honor, there was a massive spring storm that it hit, and it just delayed the installation of our air cannon.
That storms previous were more severe, and that deterrence could have been deployed prior to poor weather changes, ma'am.
Based on interviews with your employees in charge of administering deterrence, they expressed the lack of wildlife training and expertise required from the company to properly place the deterrence. So, not only is Syncrude not taking responsibility for ensuring the proper deterrence be in place, but there has been no accountability from the company. There is no doubt that Syncrude needs sufficient equipment and staff, as well as more comprehensive written procedure and training.
We're doing the best
Objection!
that we can.
Objection. You know what?
We really are.
You know what? You would argue that Syncrude does their best to ensure the proper monitoring and regulatory practices? Huh? Do you? Do you? Responsibility of bitumen doesn't end when tailings ponds are being disposed of. Syncrude needs to take care of the contents of the basin. It had bitumen in it. Now, would you argue that Syncrude did enough to deter those birds?
Absolutely, Your Honor. Our basin was actually approved by local government, and paperwork was signed off by a director. So,
Yeah, it might have been signed off, but your paperwork regarding your deterrent was not approved, so it should not have gone through.
well, how am I supposed to know that?
At this time, Cheryl, Syncrude is being charged of 2 offenses. Provincial offense is failing to ensure that contamination does not occur, and the federal offense is the depositing of a substance harmful to migratory birds. Do you plead guilty?
Yes, we are guilty.
Guilty.
Where's my small hammer? Guilty! Well, Cheryl, we expect the company to pay $3 million as a fine, the largest environmental penalty in Alberta history, after being found guilty of the deaths of 1,606 birds on the tailing ponds.
Well, isn't that just a slap on the wrist? The fine represents a small figure for the massive oil sands company, which despite a low price of oil had revenues of over $7 billion in 2009. Syncrude produces about 350,000 barrels of oil a day, and along with Suncor, is one of the 2 largest tendered producers in the oil sands. The total penalty, which breaks down to $1,868 per duck, is slightly less than Syncrude's daily net profit in 2009. Total profit that year was $1.175 billion.
Well, that's Syncrude. We're eager to move forward. The incident had haunted us, and we regret it ever happened, to be honest. We acknowledge that more could have been done, and truthfully, we can't fully avoid the impact we have on the planet. But moving forward, we accept that there is better monitoring and regulations that could be put in place. Monitoring from now on, will now occur on a full-time basis during the migration period. And if necessary, pyrotechnic flare guns, air horns, and boat movements will be deployed. We're now taking responsibility by ensuring the needs of the environment and making sure that they're being met. But take a look at our new website. Our environmental impact is being considered more than ever before.